Alright, guys, we are back once again.
Who the hell are you talking to?
It's a late night tonight. Because,
They don't know that.
well, Chester was
Fucking Chester.
supposed to be here,
Chester who?
and the douchebag couldn't make it.
Something about his dog shitting out a bell or something.
Yeah. So, anyway, Murmaider here with Hell 22 as usual.
Yeah.
Got some interesting things to talk about today. We're going to be introducing our new band of the month. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about some of the past reviews that we did this week.
We are going to talk about that, aren't we?
Yes, sir. Hell 22. You want to start off with Winter Haze?
Yeah, I can start off with Winter Haze.
Oh.
Oh, you want me to talk about them?
No, just start off with them. Don't talk about them, though.
Winter Haze.
Yeah.
Well, Winter Haze is a female-fronted band. I would classify them as symphonic metal, perhaps, from Italy. Now, one of the things I mentioned in the review is that they're kind of stuck somewhere between some of the bigger female-fronted bands of this time period. Heavier than Lacuna Coil. We'll get into that. A little more operatic than Current Nightwish, but not quite as crazy as After Forever. You know, it's a good mix. So they put out their new EP, Silent Deception, and it's really good. I give these guys a lot of credit. They've managed to kind of give a good representation of what they do in 4 songs, which is usually the problem with an EP, is that you're trying to give people a taste of what you do, what you're about, and the talents you have, but it's hard to do that in 15 minutes or 20 minutes of music. Usually you need a full length for that. Mm-hmm. But I really think they did a good job here. The one track that really stood out for me was actually the song Vacuum, because that was the one that really gave the 3 vocalists a chance to play. Because the front woman, Georgia, she's got a great voice. She can go from standard singing to the more operatic style.
Her name is Georgia?
Her name is Georgia,
okay.
With an I, not an E.
Okay.
But the other 2, there's a male singer who does the clean male singing, and then there's a growler who does like death growls. And I thought that was really interesting mix for a symphonic metal album. You don't usually hear that.
Right.
So it's definitely great. And that song in particular, Vacuum, is the one that really kind of put that really out there. But I mean, even the first song on here, Cross the Sea, is when her voice shines so much, because she, like I said, she can go from standard singing to just that really operatic, over-the-top Tarja style. Right. And I think it's pretty great. So you should check out the EP. These guys from Italy, and I guess they're working on writing a full length, but they're trying to get a label before that happens. So hopefully we'll see something from them again in the near future.
Sounds interesting.
Now, speaking of a band we never want to hear from again, Murmaider, you did a review, as we discussed last week, of the new Lacuna Coil shitfest.
Yeah, it's Lacuna Coil's new album, Dark Adrenaline, and it's really bad.
Really?
Yep.
How bad is it?
I gave it a 4 out of 10, and that's probably being really nice.
Yeah, I think you were being pretty generous, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I love the band, like I've been a Lacuna Coil fan for a while, and I really enjoy their older stuff, and I've, really pushed to keep giving them a chance with their new material every time they come out with new material. However, it gets worse and worse every year, I feel like. And this album was just it was horrible. They let the male lead singer, Andre Farrow, do most of the lyrics, most of the vocals.
Ugh.
And I mean, Christina Scabbia had her parts as well, but he just took over the scene and just has this like raspy whining, like you just want to turn it off and say shut up to the guy.
You just want to call him, like, dude, shut up.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's really uncomfortable. Honestly, his vocals, when I hear his vocals, I picture a guy with like a mustache and rapist glasses. He's like that creep that like hides in corners. And
have you ever seen a picture of him?
No, yeah, I know what he looks like.
I was gonna say, that's pretty much what he looks like.
Yeah, long hair and like, I mean, it's just bad. I mean, the guitar work was fine. There was some good parts to it, instrument wise, and there was some good drumming and good guitar riffs and whatnot. And I mean, I have to say, if there was one song on there that you do want to listen to, it's the last track. It's called My Spirit. That one I like the most. I mean, of course, he is in it still, and he does some of the verses, but Christina Scabia really shines on that track, and she takes over for most of the chorus, and she's also in some of the verses as well. And it's a little slower, a little more of a ballad than anything else, but you know, it's a really catchy song. It's good. I actually didn't mind. That was the one song I probably repeated a couple times before I completely turned the album off. But yeah, unfortunately, they are kind of going downhill. And I mean, I mentioned this in the review a couple times, that when you have such a talented singer like Christina Scabia, you got to just let her do what she does best, you know.
And that is sing, not just stand there. I mean, the other thing is, what if they were to play a show right now? Let's say they were going to play the new album in its entirety. What would she be doing?
Yeah, half the time she wouldn't really be doing.
They'd probably put her in something skimpy and like, now go dance around a little bit.
Yeah, she would get the crowd like clapping and everything. I imagine. But yeah, no, I mean, she wouldn't be doing anything half the time. But I don't know. I'm worried about this band. I don't know where they're gonna go. You know, they've definitely leaned to the radio side of things very heavily within these past two albums.
Yeah, I think that Karma Code should have been a sign that they were going that direction. But I think after Karma Code, we kind of shrugged it off. Went, whatever.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? That had what was it? There was one. I think they had one good song on there that I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, or even Shallow Life, was just...
Yeah. I mean, at least Shallow Life, she sang more.
Yeah. But I feel like with Shallow Life, the whole concept of the album was based around the fact that she was, you know, a hot chick in metal.
Yeah.
And that everyone just wanted to look at her and they didn't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't care what she was saying. Well, if you get a chance, I mean, check out the last song on the album.
Don't listen to the rest. Don't waste your time.
Yeah. You don't need to hear the rest. But moving on, Hell 22, you did another review from the band Druglord, right?
Yeah, and now this is a band called Druglord. I don't think any of them are actual drug lords. But they are a doom metal band from Richmond, Virginia. And I was pleasantly surprised by this album because it's a very lo-fi effort. You know, the sound is a little bit muddy, a little bit murky, but in a good way, I'll say. So it's a 4-song demo/EP. Now, what threw me off was the name of this offering is Motherfucker Rising. And it's kind of a weird name, and when it almost sounds like it's a joke.
I'm surprised that you even gave it a chance, because I mean, just from reading that, I probably wouldn't have bothered.
Well, you know, I'm big into doom, so I wanted to give it a chance, and these guys gave me something to really think about, because you know it's an American band, and almost all of the doom bands that we've reviewed and dealt with are all European, whether they're Swedish or Finnish or French or wherever. So an American doom band is kind of something a little bit more rare for us.
Yeah.
And I think what I really liked about it was that they weren't trying to do anything fancy. They weren't trying to do anything outside their comfort zone. They were just kind of making straight up doom with like that little bit of stoner influence in it. Mm. But what stuck out even more was the Black Sabbath influence in it. The guitar riffs, the vocals even. Not that the guy sounds like Ozzy, but his vocal delivery had like a tempo and a pacing like Ozzy, right. And you if you really listen, you could almost figure that he could be a young Ozzy Osbourne, which I mean I don't know. I assume that's a compliment. I think it's a compliment. I don't know if they would feel the same way, but the last song on the EP demo is called "Whores of the Reich," and I honestly feel like you could, if someone told you, "Hey man, listen to this song," it was an early Black Sabbath demo. I think it's believable.
Really?
Because it just has that, just the pacing of it, just the way the guitar is played. It's really, really good. And I think what stood apart also is it's a doom album, but there's a couple solos in there too. Some really good solo work, which traditional doom metal doesn't really have room for solos.
Right.
So definitely check it out. I mean, Motherfucker Rising, man. It's on their Bandcamp site. I think they want $2 for it. $2. So, give it a shot. It's like 24 minutes or 25 minutes. It's well worth the money.
Yeah.
So, give it a shot, and maybe you too can be a motherfucker rising.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a Druglord.
Maybe you could be a Druglord. That's fine too. So yeah, there you go. So a couple good reviews this week. I mean, we've had some good reviews the last couple weeks and some not good.
Yeah.
But,
keeping it, mixed up a little.
Yep, we're keeping a good cross-section. It's sad that Lacuna Coil was the bad one.
Yeah.
You kind of hope that was going to be their comeback, though. So it is that time of the month. Not that time of the month.
What?
Not that time of the month. It's the time of the month, as in the beginning, where we pick our band of the month.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like, our band of the month typically is a band that has an album coming out that month, or a band that we're really looking forward to that month, or whatever. So we went with a band this time that we're both really big fans of, and their new album I reviewed, and you, I think, like it as much as I do.
I love it.
So Murmaider, who... Did you notice that every time when we announce the band of the month, we always do it this way, where I say, Murmaider, who's the band of the month? And then you say it as if it's a question and say the name of the band is...
Swallow the Sun?
Yeah, yep, it is Swallow the Sun.
Woo! Swallow the Sun.
Yeah, the motherfucker, Swallow the Sun. Hence why this podcast is titled Swallow the Sun, Choke on the Moon, which is an homage to a very fat Italian man. No, not Super Mario, not his brother Luigi. So, the new album, Emerald Forest and the Blackbird, was actually released on the 1st of February. And the artwork, first of all, is amazing.
Yes, it is.
And now Murmaider, everyone knows my take on it because I reviewed it. And I talked about it last week on the podcast. I want to hear some of your thoughts on the new album.